And what about Steve Jobs in those days? What was your relationship with him in the early days, and how did it change?
Well, we were both there at the very beginning. The Apple I was a kit computer that Steve Wozniak designed, and he worked with Steve, and they came and offered it at various of these computer club meetings, and we went to lots of computer club meetings. So we were sort of colleagues in pitching the gospel of personal computing. We were kind of competitors. The time we worked together most intensely was after the IBM PC came out. Steve had a group, actually a small group at Apple, that was doing the Macintosh. And he came to us early on and asked us if we'd commit resources. We actually put more people on the project than Apple did, and did the early application software that used that mouse graphics interface. And so it was a huge win both for Microsoft and for Apple when the Macintosh became so successful. It's so different the way he lets there be a dialogue.
When your mother first said, "I'd like you to come and have dinner with me, and Warren Buffett will be here, you should meet him," you didn't seem that interested. Why was that?
Well, Warren, I thought of as somebody who bought and sold securities, which is a very zero-sum thing. That's not curing disease or a cool piece of software. And the idea of, kind of looking at volume curves, and it doesn't invent anything. And so I thought my way of looking at the world, what I wanted to figure out and do, and what he looked at, that there wouldn't be much intersection. And that's why it was so shocking when I met him. He was the first person to really ask me about software and software pricing, and why wasn't IBM, with all of their strength, able to overwhelm Microsoft, and what was going to happen in terms of how software would change the world. And he let me ask him about, okay, well, why do you invest in certain industries, and why are some banks more profitable than others? And he was clearly a broad systems thinker. And so it started a conversation that has been fun and enriching, and an incredible friendship that was completely unexpected.
And he taught you how to play bridge, or did you already know?
I knew how to play bridge, but I had done it, our family had done it. And then because Warren, it was a chance to spend time with Warren, I renewed my bridge skill, at first very poorly, but both golf and bridge were things that we did in our hours that we got to goof off together.
You given up on golf?
Well, Warren gave up on golf a few years ago, and so my primary excuse to play golf has gone away. So I'm golfing not much now. Tennis is become my primary sport.
Warren Buffett called you one day and said, "By the way, I'm going to give you most of my money." Were you surprised when he said he wanted to give you all this money from his wealth to your foundation?
That was a complete surprise, because Warren is the best investor, and he's built this unbelievable company. And he was giving me advice about all the things I was doing. I was learning so much from him. But his wealth was devoted to a foundation that his wife was in charge of. And so tragically, she passed away. And so then he had to think that his initial plan wouldn't make sense. And much to my surprise, he decided that a part of the wealth, a little over 80% of it, would come to our foundation. So it was a huge honor, a huge responsibility, an incredible thing, because it let us raise our level of ambition even beyond what we would have done without that by most definitions, the most generous gift of all time.
And you started with Warren and Melinda, the Giving Pledge. What is that about, and how has that worked?
Well, Warren was brainstorming with us about how did philanthropists figure out what to do, and how could they kind of help share with each other without giving up the diversity of what they did. And so he got us to do some dinners with people who are already doing amazing philanthropy, and talk about how they built staff and picked causes, and not that they would give to the same things, but that they would, the quality and even the how early people get engaged would be enhanced by the people getting together and making a public commitment to give the majority of their wealth away. And so that's become the Giving Pledge group.